Easter has a delicate history among society, along with Halloween. You ever read those chick comics about Easter and Halloween? About how Easter collecting eggs is collecting Lucifer's balls and all that, and Halloween is really the devil's birthday and all that. Well, that's complete bullshit, because in absolute reality, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have a continuum of manipulating ideas to contort a society that you have absolute moral control over. Because, again, it is moral control. If you control what evil looks like, then you control what good is. You can always control what good is by saying this stuff is evil. But in reality, they are describing something non-descriptive as evil. Something that is a vagrance in the air, almost. But the history of Easter is, it was the day that Jesus rose after 3 days of being dead. And there is a lot of good history in childhood, in anybody's childhood, of collecting eggs and getting candy. Because I know when I was a kid, they weren't eggs. They were actually chocolate eggs and stuff like that. So, of course, a lot of people love it. So, but of course, with all of society, especially here in America, Southern America, or, like Arizona, California, the parents always want to take away things from the kid that the kid likes. And this is something that is actually, might be morally acceptable. I mean, and I've seen it, especially with today's children. If they like a video game, the parents will actually take away the video game for unrelated issues. Yeah. It's only because that kid has an obsession with that video game. The same thing that the church has with an obsession with thoughts and mind control. And there's a reason that there aren't as many young Christians as there are old Christians. Is because, well, they were raised conservatively. So it is actually more conservative to not let your children have what they want. And, a lot of people want many different things. That's why they teach in Bible study that masturbation's bad. Or that they used to. I think they teach that masturbation's okay now, but whatever, it's a conflict of sex ed. And there is so much to this world. Another thing I wanted to explain was, how can this be the day? This year is tomorrow, April 12th. But last year was a different day, and a different day, and a different day. All because it's a different time on the calendar. Think about it, the Earth is not flat. The Earth goes around a sun. The sun is actually moving with the galaxy. So how can you know exactly which day is which on the same year? So, and also the calendar is false. If you have any form of spiritual enlightenment, you will know that the Gregorian calendar is just a set of rules of how they want reality to be. So how do you really know if Jesus was real at all? How do you really know which day he rose? And why does it change every year? I mean, think about it. A couple years ago, it was on a crescent moon. A couple years before that, it was on a full moon. A couple years before that, it was on a new moon. How could you actually know? And we are actually hijacking the holidays. So that's another thing to actually commit to. We are hijacking the holidays so the original meaning can come out. And the original meaning of Easter was OSTARA, which meant the spring equinox, when the goddess of love, goddess of Easter, American is Easter. I also had an older woman come to me and say, do you believe in Astaroth, which is actually another name for Astarte, which is the goddess. But it was a ritual of fertility, because the birth of a human animal, or the human as an animal, is actually quite bloody, no matter what you want to believe, because that white picket fence motto, the picture of Jesus, in the hay, after birth. He's not bloody at all, but in reality, scientifically, there not only is birthing a human being bloody, but there's also such thing as afterbirth, and the Bible doesn't know that. It also says that the earth is flat and rests on 4 different pillars. So, the real meaning of Easter was that you bathed the blood that was birthed with the body. Because there was a lot of blood, like gallons maybe. I'm not a woman, I never gave birth, so I don't know. But they would actually decorate eggs with the babies. Because, of course, back then there was no such thing as refrigerated eggs. So these were real eggs, and they would actually put blood around them to nurture the baby before it was born. And then when the baby is born, the chicken, whatever else lays eggs, the birds, they are more renewed in the springtime, in the spring equinox. But as we all know, nature, in the Bible, the words like nature, natural essence, is replaced with holiness. So instead of it actually representing a cycle, it represents man. It represents artificial constructs like man and his development and all that type of stuff. Because if a man can resurrect, that is more important than what the birds think, right? Because, again, the entire natural selection is not in the Bible. The predatorial nature is not explained. The innocent nature of the prey is also not explained. And, of course, we have, again, because if you have older generations telling the young this, it'll become the next generation. But, yeah, Easter, happy Easter, right? It's the day Jesus was resurrected, right? How can science exist if God has stated to us that holiness is stated and actually expressed to us holiness rather than nature? And we don't need connection to the earth, right? We don't need this connection, right? So, it's Easter weekend, and I wanted to say, I wanted to personally thank the gods for this video. You see, a long time ago, things were kind of hijacked. The timelines of reality were kind of hijacked, so Christianity could rise. And in doing so, they plagiarized the ancient pagan religions and turned them into Christian religions. And through the Crusades, the Christians have actually murdered a lot. And it's very important now that, as a newer generation, to actually see the hypocrisy that is going on within the church right now. Because they're saying COVID-19, that the pandemic, is God cursing us. But at the same time, other churches are saying that it's the devil. For publicity, of course. And if you look up all the millionaires of the preachers like Joel Osteen, they never actually contributed to help. Not even one mask to help save lives. And they're going against law. So they can congregate, because they say the devil is making them apart. But in reality, you can't say that the devil is making the churches shut down. You can't do that. Because it's non-ethical. It's not an ethical choice. And we as a society need to realize and wake up that there's something wrong with the United States. There's something wrong with everybody. There's something wrong with every country. And that may or may not be an actual issue. That in a time of crisis, the church wants to congregate. Along with stuff like the President Trump is racist towards illegals and is sexist towards women and all that type of stuff.